Hello, 大家好. Welcome back to China Real Talks podcast. My name is Rie. I'm the host of this podcast channel in case you didn't know. Thanks for tuning in. In this podcast, I usually bring a guest to introduce their life story related to China. But today, I decided to give my self-introduction to everyone because I realized that I have never done it here in English yet. So, for those who are wondering who I am and what I do, you get to know a little bit about it by listening to this episode. Firstly, I am Japanese, born and raised in Japan, currently based in Tokyo. My hometown is in Niigata Prefecture, which is on the opposite side of Tokyo, on the coast facing the Sea of Japan. If Tokyo is on the Pacific side of Japan, Niigata is on the Sea of Japan side, across the mountains. It's known for heavy snow in winter and famous for rice production. I grew up in a very small city which has only population of 30,000 people, and my school class had around 20 people for each grade. I barely get to see the foreigners there, and my only chance to speak English back in my school days was to communicate with my ALT, assistant language teacher who visits our school once every week. So, how did my relationship with China start? I didn't have any Chinese friends back in my hometown, and several years after I moved to Tokyo, I started meeting people from China through various kinds of activities. Some of them came here for studying, some already had work here, some married to the locals, some just visiting Tokyo for a holiday. As Tokyo is a very big international city, my friend circle got a lot bigger over the years. As most of them could speak in Japanese or English, I always talked with them using either of those languages. To be honest, I didn't have any good impression towards their countries until 2015. This is just because I didn't know anything about the country, except what I heard about it through mass media. Unfortunately, the mass media most likely shares about negative news about China, so I didn't have a way to know what the reality was. In 2015, suddenly I saw I wanted to start studying Chinese. The reason was simple. I wanted to become more competitive professional, and what I can do to take advantage of it to study another language. Since the majority of Japanese people don't speak any foreign languages, but the number of English-speaking bilingual people is rising, I strongly felt that I gotta be able to speak another language to be stood out. And after trying out many different languages, I came to the conclusion Chinese is the most efficient language to learn if I work based in Japan or any Asian country. As I decided to do the self-study, I needed somebody who can help me with speaking practice. So I started talking to my Chinese friends. I started studying Chinese. Then they welcomed me to join their Chinese community or dinner gatherings whenever our time matches. They helped me increase opportunities to meet new Chinese people and let me use what I learned there. The more I spent time with them, the more I realized that how they show themselves was totally different within their own community and outside their community. They looked happier, more open and relaxed, and they talked more than anything in their own community. It was very obvious, and I really liked how they were within their community. At the same time, my impression towards the Chinese people got better and better, and the time I spent with the Japan living Chinese people made me want to know more about China. To make the long story short, I decided to move to China and see the country myself. Then I found a job, got a visa, and I moved to Shanghai in June 2016. In the process of my working visa application, I thought about visiting Shanghai for a week to see the city and how I feel about it. Honestly speaking, if I didn't feel I could cope with life there, I'd withdraw my job offer and cancel my visa application. But guess what? I loved my time in Shanghai and felt this is the city I should be. I got to come here. My short visit to Shanghai even more motivated me to build a new life there, so I was praying seriously that my work visa to be granted. I was a little bit worried if I could get my visa because I didn't have a bachelor's degree back in time, and I kept being told from many places that it would be very difficult for me to get a visa without a degree. But miraculously, my work permit was granted only 3 weeks after I submitted my application. It was unbelievably smooth. I also took this as a sign that I gotta come to China now. Overall, I loved the time in Shanghai. I loved the people there, how technology took over the place. Especially talking about Shanghai, the city was much more advanced than I was thinking back in Japan. People seemed to be enjoying freedom. Most of the people were kind, thoughtful, caring, and supportive. When their family member or friends is an issue, they just do anything to help them. They always serve their guests with a table full of food and drinks. They always try to find a positive point of view to make things happen. And in a good way, they don't really care about strangers, like their appearance or behavior. At the same time, they don't worry about how others will look at them, so they just do whatever they want to do. That kind of freedom opened my eyes a lot. I felt that in that way, Chinese people has more freedom than the Japanese people. This is the freedom that I wanted when I was in Japan. On the other hand, honestly speaking, life in Shanghai wasn't easy all the time, especially living as a foreigner. Though I studied the language a little bit, I still could barely communicate with the locals, so I always had to depend on others. I could only communicate with the people who understand either English or Japanese. Otherwise, I would need help from somebody who can translate for me. When I moved to Shanghai, I thought that being Japanese would be an advantage and probably I could help China grow in many ways. But the reality was, China was more advanced in many ways that I even felt that Japan actually needed to learn from them. The speed and efficiency to make things happen, how they care for their family and friends. At the same time, I was reminded of how small Japan is. Small means the impact Japan could bring to another country. It was also shocking to see that when it comes to the international gathering based on English-speaking groups of people, I barely get to see the Japanese in those gatherings. Because of the language barriers, many Japanese don't even get to see what's going on outside of the country. That makes people become blind and they are getting lost of where they really are at times. I strongly felt that we need more people who can fill the gap between Japan and China. Me, to take the position, I considered if I should stay in China or go back to Japan. Then I came to the conclusion that more people in Japan need to know more about China because most of the people don't know about it. Besides, the number of Chinese people moving to Japan is increasing. So I thought I should stay closer to the Japan-living Japanese people for now. That way, I can also help both Japanese and Chinese people. This is one of the reasons why I decided to move back to Japan. Another reason for moving back to Japan was, honestly speaking, being a foreigner unable to perfectly speak the local language made me feel I have a disadvantage as an individual, and one day I even felt that I was useless in China. I was already in my 30s back in time, and I seriously asked myself to find a place where I can bring the value to the whole. When I came to the conclusion that going back to Japan for now could bring the best value to the people and the city I belong to by having the advantage of experience in China and a little bit of language skills. In Japan, Even imperfect language skill could be an advantage compared to staying in China as a foreigner. After I came back, I continued to study Chinese language and now I can use the language to communicate with the locals. I take university courses in Chinese and I can use the language for work. As a part of my mission, I started building a community for Chinese and Japanese people to get connected. I also found that there are so many demands that they are looking for opportunities to connect, but somehow they haven't been able to find the chance, even in Japan. So I started in-person and online meetups where people can meet the people they want. Now I do community based in Tokyo, Shanghai, and online. This podcast is another way of delivering China to the Japanese people. I always invite people to hear their stories because I still have so many things that I don't know. I only know about Shanghai partly for the last 10 years. I can't speak like I know everything about China just knowing recent Shanghai. So I wanted to share the wider perspective through more people's experience and insights. I want to continue supporting more people to understand, meet, and connect with each other. The more people get closer to each other, the more misunderstandings will be resolved. Everything starts from simple communication. I want to keep creating opportunities for that communication to begin. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, please follow to receive the updates. If you have any message or request, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message. I look forward to hearing from you. 下次见。